A resort that fired baby's mother in the middle of lunch, the place where the movie's most famous scene happened, looks nothing like it does today. A line Patrick Swayze turned into his own goodbye years later from a hospital bed. Dirty Dancing wasn't just a movie people fell in love with. It was a production that nearly didn't survive its own making. A $5 million gamble shot in 3 weeks of brutal heat, then 2 weeks of a completely different nightmare, inside a resort that legally had the power to kill the whole thing before anyone saw it. Most of what actually happened behind the camera never made it into any retrospective. It starts with the place where the most famous scene in the film happened. Because right now, it doesn't look anything like it used to. Number 16. The lake that isn't there anymore. The lake where Johnny lifts baby over his head, the single most imitated shot in movie history, barely exists anymore. Due to natural geological cycles, Mountain Lake drained almost completely between 2008 and 2012. A phenomenon the lake is actually known for going back generations, with locals recording similar disappearances decades before the film was ever shot. Where that iconic scene was filmed is now, largely, a meadow. Number 15. Fired before lunch, replaced before dinner. On day one of filming, actress Lynn Lipton was cast as baby's mother. By lunchtime, she was too unwell to continue, and 200 paid extras were already waiting on set for a scene that couldn't be rescheduled. Producer Gottlieb grabbed Kelly Bishop, already cast in a different role, and said, "You're the mother now." Bishop was in costume, in makeup, and filming within 20 minutes, with barely a chance to read the scene beforehand. Her original role went to the assistant choreographer instead, who was suddenly acting and choreographing the same movie at once. Number 14. Rejected twice by the ratings board. You'd assume a summer romance would sail to an easy rating. Dirty Dancing came back from the MPAA rated R twice. According to producer Linda Gottlieb, the problem wasn't nudity. That had already been cut. The problem was the dancing itself, deemed too erotic on its own. It took a third submission to finally land PG-13, the rating that let an entire generation of teenagers actually watch it. Number 13. The screening that could have killed the film. Mountain Lake Lodge didn't just rent out its property. Contractually, it had the legal right to block the film's release entirely if it disliked how the resort was portrayed. In spring 1987, 2 hotel representatives were flown to New York to watch the rough cut in complete silence, with no one from the production allowed to say a word during the screening. If they said no, the entire film could legally never reach a theater, regardless of what the studio wanted. They said yes. Number 12. The company that wasn't what it said. To avoid spooking the hotel owners, the production booked their location under a fake company name. Dancing Film Productions. Not Dirty Dancing, just Dancing. Contracts were signed, deposits were paid, and rooms were blocked off for weeks, all before anyone at the resort learned the film's real title. The owners had no idea what they'd actually agreed to host until the crew was already unpacking equipment. Number 11. 3 weeks of heat, then everything flipped. Filming began in a heat wave, 102, then 105 degrees, in wool costumes built for a different climate entirely. Choreographer Kenny Ortega later said 10 people collapsed within 25 minutes on a single afternoon. One dancer was taken away by ambulance, and production shut down for 2 hours while the insurance company started asking questions. Then, within weeks, the weather turned into something else completely. A shoot that started in blistering heat and ended in conditions nobody had planned for at all. Number 10. The bar mitzvah verdict. Long before Titanic, a 20-year-old Billy Zane made it to a final screen test for Johnny Castle. On paper, he fit. The role was originally written as a darker, tougher character. Then came the dancing. Bergstein's verdict was brutal. Zane danced like someone who'd learned specifically for his own bar mitzvah. No amount of charisma could fix that on camera, and everyone in the room knew it. The role that would define a generation almost went to a guy who couldn't sell a spin. Number 9. The $1 Million Accident screenwriter Eleanor Bergstein was pitching producer Linda Gottlieb a completely different story. 2 sisters at a Catskills resort. Almost as an aside, she mentioned that she herself used to do something called Dirty Dancing back in the day. It had nothing to do with the plot. Gottlieb dropped her fork. She told the LA Times the title alone was worth $1 million. On the spot, before a finished script even existed. No Swayze, no lift, no soundtrack. There wasn't even a studio attached yet. And there wouldn't be for years, just 2 words that decided the entire identity of the film before a single scene was written. Number 8. The guy who was never a finalist. Zayn wasn't alone in that room. Val Kilmer and a young Benicio del Toro were both seriously considered for Johnny. But when Swayze walked in, the search simply stopped. Bergstein later said it plainly. It was always him, only him. They even rewrote Johnny's heritage from Italian to Irish just to fit the actor they'd already decided on. Number 7. 3 names that almost became Baby. Before Jennifer Grey landed the role, an entirely different Baby nearly happened. Winona Ryder read for it. So did Sharon Stone. So did Sarah Jessica Parker. Already a bigger name at the time than Grey. None of them got it. The character that would define an unknown actress's entire career almost went to someone who was already famous. Number 6. The 26-year-old teenager. Jennifer Grey was 26 years old when she played a 17-year-old. Patrick Swayze was 34, playing 24. That's a full decade of distance between actor and character, hidden behind wardrobe, lighting, and sheer performance. Nobody in the audience questioned it for a second. Decades of viewers still assume Baby was a real teenager on that dance floor. Number 5. The hotel the film saved. That same resort now books rooms a full year in advance for Dirty Dancing weekends. Guests can request the exact room Swayze and Grey stayed in, and dance instructors on-site still teach the same lift technique to couples who show up specifically for it. Some visitors return every single year, treating the weekend like a pilgrimage rather than a vacation. A hotel that once had the power to bury the film now survives almost entirely because of it. Number 4. The steps that never left. The staircase where Johnny drills Baby on the basic steps is still standing today, almost untouched since 1986. Fans travel from other countries just to stand on it, take the same photo, and try the same footwork on the same worn wood. Staff at the resort say some guests ask for directions to it before they've even checked in. No plaque needed, no sign required. People just know. Number 3. One film became an entire universe. A television series, a prequel, a Broadway musical, a remake, a sequel decades later. All of it traces back to a $5 million film that almost never got made at all. Studios that once turned the script down 43 times spent the following decades trying to license a piece of the same universe. One rejected script, shopped 43 times, built an entire franchise nobody saw coming. Number 2. Officially American history. In 2024, the Library of Congress selected Dirty Dancing for preservation in the National Film Registry, recognized as culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant to the United States. It now sits alongside films the industry considered untouchable classics from the moment they were released. The exact category nobody expected a $5 million dance movie to ever enter. A movie nobody in Hollywood wanted is now, officially, part of the national record. Number 1. The line. He made his own, one last time. Patrick Swayze hated the line, "Nobody puts Baby in a corner." He fought to cut it. He said it anyway, reluctantly, and it became one of the most quoted lines in film history. Years later, facing pancreatic cancer, Swayze reached for that same line one final time, turning it on himself with the same defiance he'd once resisted on set. "Nobody puts Patrick's pancreas in a corner," a line he never believed in, became the one thing he was remembered saying, right to the end. Some lines you write, others end up writing you back.